So my husband was Troy Jackson. He was with South Metro Fire Rescue for just under 30 years. He'd always wanted to be a fireman because his dad was a firefighter. And we started dating our senior year, and I knew that's what he wanted to do. And so he planned his schooling around that, and as soon as he could, he started testing and got on. He quickly went through the ranks, different firefighter levels, lieutenant, captain, training chief, and then finally ops chief. And just loved the family that created above and beyond our family. We have 2 children together. And you know, the support that he got from everybody at the firehouse has been great. And they've been great to me as well. But Troy was someone who, once he got an idea in his head, he stuck with it. So he got his undergraduate while being employed there full time. Then while he was recovering after his second surgery, he finished his master's as well. And just a great guy, a family man, had strong faith. He said he would do it all over again, even knowing how it came out, because that's really what he believed in.
He was just a great kid as he grew up. He started out, and he was different than a lot of kids. He just would always ask questions about things, always ask what I did for the fire department, always ask, why'd you do this, why'd you do that? And I think that's what helped him learn all the way up till, when he met Lori and they moved on, moved up, and he done everything at the firehouse, and he just grew and grew and grew at the firehouse. Everybody loved him at the firehouse. He just had the knack for teaching, as he was not even in the teaching at that time, but once he got online after that, he just started teaching all the new recruits that come on after him on how things should be done, what they should do, how things do, and it just grew and grew and grew, and he moved up through the ranks so quick. It was just nice. And of course, at that time, South Metro Fire was a smaller fire department. Now they're one of the biggest ones around in Denver. So he was all part of that, just gaining everything he could do, teaching all of them that he could do.
I would say as a guys, he was known as a true mentor. Like Paul said, he was always teaching, learning along the way himself as well. To us, he was our Superman, and he looked a lot like him, you'll see that. I'm not lying. But he was always somebody who would serve first, and then take care of himself. And servant leadership was really important to him because it then helped the next generation of firefighters coming up understand the right way to do things. His mantra, or at least a saying he had, and they put it on one of the bay doors at one of the stations: leave things better than you found it.
One of the things that we heard is just lately about a firefighter that passed and did a tattoo with his trademark of sunglasses on him.
We just lost I think Tony was a paramedic lieutenant, and we just lost him last month to job-related cancer, so he'll be on the wall. And Troy was instrumental in getting his cancer covered by work comp. And so, yeah, he did a tattoo, and it included a shout out to Troy and his green sunglasses and his initials as well. And that was just kind of his way to say thanks so much for having a huge impact on him.
I think the brotherhood of the fire department is a very real thing that comes out. It's not the typical job that you go to every day and come home with it every night. So the brotherhood that comes in is that you live together, you talk together, you probably talk more at the firehouse about different things at home and on the job stuff than what you probably do at home. And Troy was one of those people that would sit down and listen to people and find out what they were having problems with, trying to help them through those problems because of the job itself. Everybody has those problems at the firehouse, and that's typical. People don't really understand what the firemen go through and see every day until it happens to them, and then they wonder why the firemen are the way they are. They're just so nice about everything because they live it every day. So things change as things go on. The family life changes. I can say for myself, talking to Troy, when I was a firefighter, I tried very hard not to bring my job home with me because I wanted it to stay at the firehouse. And Troy and me got along that way. We didn't talk firehouse too much when we were away from the job. At the job, I was able to work with him for a couple years until I retired. And then even after I left, we never talked about the job off duty a whole lot. We would talk back and forth, but that's the camaraderie and stuff of the firehouse. You talk, you don't talk. It all depends on who you talk to, because some people don't understand.
The entire department, from our chief down to recruits that Troy had just sworn in, have been incredibly supportive. They renamed the training center to be the Troy Jackson Training Facility. There is just an incredible amount of remembrance and legacy that they want to make sure gets instilled. And I get random texts from people or Facebook messages saying, hey, I was just down at the TJ and was thinking about Troy. Or I just left a meeting and his input would have been so valuable. He would have calmed us down, kept us on task, and nobody would have gotten mad. And so many times it's just, boy, I could have taken his ear today because he'd have listened and gotten me through a tough time that I'm really struggling with right now. So he was just a great friend and mentor. And even I've heard, I knew if I was going in to get in trouble, I would still leave there happy because Troy would educate me through the process and get me through to the other side.
Well, I think that the legacy of Troy would be that, like we said earlier, he mentored a lot of people. He was fair to everybody, gave everybody a chance, not only on the line people, but all the supporting staff in the offices, the secretaries, the PR people, everything. I mean, you just have to look at when I started at South Metro, what we had and what it is today. And it's just the changing of the people. Troy changed a lot of people's lives out there. He got a lot of brand new programs in there. One of the best programs I think that he'll ever have out there is the safety of the firefighters, for getting a second set of bunker gear for every personnel on the line, getting them wash buckets and stuff. And it's just the idea that he took care of everybody. He was in the office, but he wasn't in the office. He was always out with the guys and gals on the line, seeing what they needed, what he could do better in his position to help them go through the fire department. I go to lunches every once in a while. We have alumni lunches about every 3 months. And there's so many people there I don't know anymore because I've retired a long time ago. And I'm always introduced, this is Troy's dad. And everybody says, oh, we know Troy. And that's been a couple years ago now, and everybody still knows Troy. And I think that has a lot to do with it, because there are a lot of people who have left the fire department that, well, I don't know who that is. And they still remember Troy. So that has a whole lot to do with stuff.
To add on to that, what Paul said, the cancer initiative that South Metro started is incredible, and we're seeing it taken across different departments across the country. But it's no longer cool to wear that badge of honor of a dirty shroud or have your gear be filthy or your helmet dirty. And he wants, as they say, he wants everybody to go home and be a whole lot harder to kill. But above and beyond being a firefighter, he's a great husband and son and father, and it just was one facet of who he was. My daughter would say that her dad was hilarious and her best friend. They got along really well, and they had a great camaraderie and banter between red versus blue, so that was wonderful. And she is working in a district that serves the same area that the fire department was. So there would have been that opportunity for them to possibly show up on calls together. And my son would say he was just such a great example of a loving Christian father.
Here's to you, with that smile on your face. Here's to you, and what time won't erase to this moment we share.